Welcome to Legacy Cast, your source for hearing from top influencers, industry experts, and successful business owners who are telling their unique story about life, values, goals, business strategies, and the various causes they are so passionate about. Future generations will come to be impacted by what is happening today, whether positive or negative, and our mission is to focus on what is going to affect change for the better. Hosted each weekday by James Snow, a former U.S. Army combat medic, now founder and principal advisor of James Advisors Group, a full-service financial planning firm in North Texas. This is Legacy Cast. Welcome, Legacy Cast listeners. This is your host, James Snow. Welcome you to the program today. And I have with me today a guest and a good friend of mine, Jason Stier. He comes to us from here, also from North Texas, and he's someone who really is very patriotic. That's important to me, obviously, but someone who also understands the value of doing things with the legacy focus, to make sure that we are put here on this earth to do things in a certain manner, and so all of the things that come through in our life, they should be handled accordingly and with due diligence. And so without further ado, I'd like to welcome Jason onto the program here. Welcome, my bud.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and as I was kind of mentioning, you're in the home ownership world. So if you can maybe just delve into that a little bit for the listeners so they can understand kind of what you're.
I'll kind of give you a little bit about my background, and I have been in the mortgage industry for 18 years actually this month. So we've seen a lot of things come and go. 2008, 2009, and the crash and the loss of homes and it's but the business, it's a great business to be in because we get to serve people, and especially my business, which is mostly, I would say 90% is dealing with active duty, military and veterans. And that's just the people that I choose to help. And it's personal, it's business, it's all those things kind of intertwined. And I have the pleasure and the honor of educating them about a benefit that most don't really know about. And I have, the honor of putting a lot of these men and women in homes that didn't think they could otherwise buy them. And, man, there's nothing more gratifying than walking someone through this process who's doesn't know anything about it or has been told no by someone else. And we figure out a way to do it. And because, men and women like yourself who served our country honorably deserve that. And so we want to make sure that we honor them doing it and doing it well.
And home ownership, is part of that. We as men here, we kind of see things, through that lens. But with that providing and protecting lens that we look through, being able to provide a home is very important. And
we have that conversation with our clients a lot, and that they mention to me, and I it's a conversation they don't just come right out and start talking about. I try to get to know my clients. It's not just about doing a mortgage. I want to get to know them as people and families, and where they come from and what they've done, and so it's a castle, right? It's their castle, it's their domain, their kingdom where they want to raise their kids and set down roots. So if they are, active military and they're on a deployment, they have something that they own to come home to. Mm-hmm. This is a place where they protect their kids and raise their families. And a lot of people don't see it like that. It's just a transaction. Mm-hmm. And to us and to me, it's much more than just a transaction. It's about, providing a way and a mean for them to have that castle to protect their family.
Sure. And likewise, it's one of those financial strategy parts of the scenario, because as you gain equity in that, you then in turn are able to benefit from the equity and the real estate that you have, and be able to repurpose that in other parts of your life that you're needing to do. And so it's able to multi-purpose.
No,
And
absolutely.
it's certainly
Well,
a very
that's the relationship, right, that you and I have. And when I talk to these men and women about that, and we talk about, we've talked about TSPs before and guys that have been in for, 19, 20 years that may be gaining closer to retirement. There's ways where they can, in a manner where they can take that money out of that TSP and put it in something that's actually going to gain them a return, a better return.
Sure.
And so they have the equity of their home that they're building, and we kind of walk through that process, and then of course their investment side, and it's a trusted partnership, and it's something that I require in my business, and I know you do too. And I think that's where you and I are very aligned in that. Is I don't let many people into my circle that don't have that heart to help people. There's a lot of people out there, right? There's a lot of mortgage people. There's investment people all over the place, but you've got to have that connection, because if you don't, it's just you're treating people like a transaction, in my opinion. And I don't, that's not the way we do things.
That's true. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
So when you're kind of thinking about a legacy, just kind of rewind a little bit here on that part of it, kind of looking at it from that perspective. When you hear legacy, first off, what comes to mind?
When I hear the word legacy, I think about the future. Mm-hmm. That's the thing that pops into my head. How am I building a legacy for the future? I have kids. Okay, I have young boys, and I want to make sure that I'm leaving a legacy for them. Not only financially, but in service to others.
Sure.
We include our boys in all the things that my wife and I do, and we're helping out charities here locally in North Texas. Actually, my wife is actually taking my teenager tomorrow and spending a few hours at the North Dallas Food Bank.
Excellent.
This is the year where that is extremely important, because we need to teach our kids and that legacy is giving back always. And there's multitude of ways to do that. We choose to do it to give back in the veteran community. That's near and dear to our hearts, and we're going to teach them to do that. So legacy to me is just that. It's financial, and for me personally, it's for my kids.
And I like to look at it as, our legacy obviously is a story, but it's a story of what we're doing that's making a difference to make the world better than we found it.
Right.
And other people better than we found it, solving problems so that the situations are better than we found it. And so, like what you're talking about there, it's a very direct correlation to, our purpose of being here and what we're doing, and being very deliberate. So, which kind of leads me into my next line of questioning is how important you feel that it is that people actively consider what they're doing, from a day-to-day basis, either on a personal level or even business levels, that they're making deliberate.
We talk a lot about, working with intention, right? It's easy just to go through your day or go through your week or go through your life without intention, right? We can just exist.
Sure.
To me, it's what I found, and as I've grown in this business and as a father and a husband and all those things, is that we have to work each day with a little bit of intention. What do I need to accomplish today? What do I want to teach my boys today? What are we going to, how are we going to give back? How do I make an impact in somebody else's life today?
Right.
And to me, it's just, I see a lot of people, whether guys that I talk to or, vets that we help, that they just kind of float around, from either job to job or, city to city or things like that. And because they have a hard time finding their way, they have a hard time finding a purpose. So we talk a lot about that. We talk a lot about purpose. We talk a lot about, in my house with my boys and even in my clients, we talk a lot about living each day with intention. How do we do that? So, it's literally transformed the way I think about my business, the way I think about my life and my, being a father and a husband, because for a long time, even I would just kind of go from one day to the next.
Yeah.
And at some point, I hope that people find that purpose. And for me, it was my boys and, and serving the military and the veteran community. So.
Yeah. And, when you kind of scrape all that back, that's sort of, the ordained way that it should be,
Right.
that the structure should be happening, in that manner, that, we are doing it with the purpose of, being the leaders of the house, but also to bring up the children to become, better leaders than we were.
Yeah. My boss actually, who was, an active duty SEAL for quite a few years. He has boys that are in the teenage years now. And he always says that he's raising his boys to be the next generation of warriors, and not just, maybe from a military service perspective, but through the combat of life. Right? I mean, we're raising our sons and our daughters to not take things for granted, and not, to work for what they have, and teaching them the values that we grew up with, that you and I have, and projecting that into them. And it's tough. I mean, I'll be honest with you, raising kids in this day and age is not an easy thing to do. And my wife is the rock that keeps this family together. I can assure you that. But it's fun because I get to see the things that we talk about now. They're kind of taking hold of those things and implementing in their own life. And that's fun to watch.
It's outstanding. So how do you take your views on legacy and your plans for implementing that? How do you take that to the level of, incorporating into your business?
Well, when we consult with a client, whether they're, veteran, active military, or what have you, I think people have a tendency, because of today's instant information age with, the internet and Google and everything, information at your fingertips. We want to take it a step further, right? We want to make sure that we build on the relationship that we have with that client, and building a legacy with them from a personal standpoint, but also building a legacy with them from a business standpoint. And we talk about, short-term goals. We talk about long-term goals and things of that nature. And we try to build something for them around what it is that they want and what their need is, right? I think too many people get caught up in, for me in my particular business, obviously it's interest rates. They look at this number that they see on the internet and they're like, their eyes get this big and like, I got to have it. Well, it's not always the best deal for you because you don't read the fine print, or you don't see what's going on behind the scenes. And, it comes down to education. And I know you're a big proponent of that. And for me, it's education and educating people. And even if they don't use me, right? Even if they don't do their loan through me, I want them to understand the transaction, how it affects their long-term goal. A lot of these men and women are retiring, or, they're moving to a different duty station. They may only be there for 3 or 4 years. And so we talk about cost. How much is it going to cost me up front versus my return on my investment in that 3 or 4 years? And a lot of times they don't equal out. Mm-hmm. But so we want to make sure that we're setting them up for success in the short term or the long term, whatever their need is. And, I know that you and I have had conversations about that education. I mean, we walk them through that step by step by step to make sure that they understand at a high level the benefit that they rightfully earned. Mm-hmm. So that's part of the enjoyment of my business. I mean, it's not just 30-year fixed mortgages, because that's kind of boring. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But it's to be able to profoundly, in my opinion, affect the future of someone. Mm-hmm. We treat all our clients, like just our active duty and military clients, but they're special to me. I treat all my clients the same, but they are special to me. And I want to make sure that they are set up for success.
Yeah. And I love that about you, because you want to, put that so much into everything that you're doing. And I just really appreciate that you're taking it from that standpoint.
Right. Yeah. I love it. And that's where you have a line for, the time that we've known each other, is the education piece. I think it's vitally important to the success of not just our success, but the success of others, that we educate them. You can't move forward and gain knowledge without education. You don't just simply get it by osmosis and by touching things. It doesn't happen like that. So I feel that my purpose is to educate. So, and that's, like I said, that's where you and I have aligned for years. So I appreciate that about you too, honestly, because there's a lot of people out there who don't do that. They just, oh, well, come on in and let's do this, and then, stick you into this category.
And with the knowledge, you're empowering people, and so they can make a better decision, a more well-rounded, more informed decision that's going to be in their best interest. And that's really what it comes down to is this their best interest?
Right. I mean, it's money. These are how people live, and this is where they raise their children, and this is how they do things, and it's no different than there's all these facets that we have, and this is the piece that you and I so proudly help with. You've got the spiritual piece, you've got the education and the financial and all these things, and we get to be what I feel like is a significant cog in that progression in people's financial well-being.
Yeah, very true. So as a business owner, you've been in business for a while. Are you still at the stage where there's things that maybe keep you up at night, or have you kind of migrated past that to where you're sort of able to rest easier based on what you built up so far?
No, I mean, I don't. I think for me, it's what I've learned, and this is by learning from others. And this is not something I just magically appeared in my head one day, but every day we start over. I want to, and like we kind of talked about before, is that I think that when you become complacent in your business, then you are going to probably see a decline in your business. That's my opinion. I think we work every day to forge a new relationship, to help a new borrower, to, reach out to a different, like for me, I'll reach out to veterans charities here in Texas, not just exclusive to North Texas, and chat with them and kind of learn about their charity and how they help people, and, tell them a little about how I help people. But we just constantly build on that every single day. And for me, I think there was a time in my career, honestly, where I did that. Where I think, man, I've got this thing lit. This is pretty easy. And then 6 months from now, you're like, oh crap, I probably shouldn't have done that because my business is starting to decline. Mm-hmm. And so what I've done is by, listening to people a heck of a lot smarter than me, is take that and build on my business every single day and work with a plan. Because I think in life and in business, you've got to get better every single day. And a lot of that is who you surround yourself with.
Yeah, you mentioned a word in there that actually is leading into the next part of this, mentioning plans. Do you feel like it's important that people create a strategic business plan and other like financial planning strategies, key strategies in their life? They have those in place,
Absolutely.
sort of as a
yeah. Well, it's just like in your daily business, right? Everybody's got to work from a plan. The ones that are the most successful have plans, right? They have goals to work towards. It's no different in your financial well-being. You have to have a goal to work towards. And if it's, let's say you want to retire when you're 65. Well, if you're 35, you've got 30 years. What do you do inside that 30 years? Mm-hmm. Right? Do you want to become a real estate investor? Do you want to take and invest, with someone like yourself and build wealth in different types of areas and diversify and do all those things? Because if you just put money back into something, that's not a plan. That's savings, which is not a plan. And, I'm even teaching, I have a 5-year-old at home, and we're teaching him even to save money now. And when he builds up enough, we're going to do something with it. Right. So that money grows while he's kind of working behind the scenes, just adding to it. And, and I've done that, man. I didn't truthfully start investing in my future until I was well into my 30s because I was too busy playing. I was having fun and I was single and I didn't really care. Mm-hmm. Well, there are a lot of friends of mine who took the different approach, like you're talking about, in their early 20s, are basically set up to retire when they're 50 or 55. They've set that strategic plan in place, and they crushed it. And it's off to them. I love it.
So what are some of the maybe reasons that you think that business owners and entrepreneurs that are starting businesses that they end up giving up during that early stage?
It's early failures. I mean, it is tough. I mean, owning a business is not easy. People think that it is. I think they're blowing smoke. It's not an easy thing to do. Right. Because you rely solely on yourself. And to motivate yourself is sometimes not an easy thing to do. And they run into these obstacles and they're like, man, this is just insurmountable. I can't get past this. And the thing that I've learned by surrounding myself with and listening to various podcasts and my boss Andrew and his being the things that he went through and the teams and all these different things, I'm like, my life is not so bad. It's about perspective to me. And I think it should be perspective to other business owners because, Chad Fleming says something in that he says, guys like him, guys that have been deployed to some of the most horrific places on the planet, they know what the true definition of a bad day is. Right? So me, I don't have bullets whizzing past my head. I don't have grenades being lobbed in Humvees and all kinds of things at me. So when I think about guys like him, guys like Marcus, guys like yourself who did these things, man, I don't have any excuse not to go out and try to crush every single day. And yeah, we're going to run into issues, but you only fail if you quit.
Right.
If you don't quit, you don't fail, right? You just move on to the next one. And now you mentally know what not to do. Mm-hmm. So I don't think anything is catastrophic, but I think business owners like, oh, well, man, I made a mistake with this sale, or I overshot this inventory and now I'm this. I'm like, so what? You can still breathe, right? You lay your head down on your pillow and you get up tomorrow and you crush it and you don't have any excuses. Mm-hmm. And I think people like to make excuses for themselves a lot.
Yep. And, those things that, we might call failures, they're learning opportunities. It's an opportunity to learn
right.
From what we did to not do it again. And then the wise person doesn't do it
100%.
again. And so,
right. And that's right. You move on to the next one, right? I mean, we still have a job to do. We are task oriented. We have a mission to complete. And if I let all the obstacles in our business get in the way of me helping the men and women that I choose to help, dude, I mean, I would have quit a long time ago. But you just don't do that. You push forward, you push on, you figure out a way to help. And if you screw up, you screw up. We're all human. You own up to it and you move on to the next one. You make amends and you move on, because none of us are fallible. We're all going to screw up at some point in our life and we can all fix it. That's the beauty of it.
So there's some particular maybe roadblocks and resources that you've discovered over your years in business that you would encourage a new business owner to look for, different, roadblocks to, not fall into that you may have, or resources to tap into that they should.
Yeah. I mean, what I would recommend to people, there's so many books, there's so many things out there, whether it be, books just about business, whether they're motivational, whether they're a combination of the two. But kind of what I've adopted, in my drive into the office every day is I listen to that. That's my quiet time, right? Because I think some of the mistake that people make is they think they can do it by themselves. And there are those that do, and I think they're the exception, not the rule. But we all need that motivation, and we all need to surround ourselves with people who make us better. And if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. And if your friends are bringing you down, find new friends. I had that for years. They'd rather screw off and do nothing than work. Well, I fell into that because I hung around them. Mm-hmm. So, because I think the daily things and my biggest piece of advice that I tell people, and this is how I live my daily life, is that I don't try to overcomplicate things. I think we as humans try to have a tendency to try to make them more complicated than they are.
Yeah.
And I think if we make them complicated, we choose not to do it. Mm-hmm. Because it's complicated. Well, simplify your tasks on a daily basis. Set yourself, okay, I want to make 10 prospecting calls today. That's it, 10. Not 35 or 50 or 70 or whatever it is. Just 10. Have 10 meaningful conversations. That's an hour and a half on the phone. That's it, out of your day. We all have the same 8-hour workday, right? So I use a template still. As 18 years in the business, I use a template every single day. I need to make these calls. I need to, I have daily affirmations that I go through and things like that, because it just sets your mind right. And I believe that that's the pitfall that we fall in as just human beings. We don't get in the right mindset. So that would probably be my number one, is just get your mind right and do it every day.
Now, as far as personal views and belief systems, how does that play a role in your business, and how would you advise other people to incorporate that into their own business to make themselves unique?
I think everybody, what I did when I kind of transitioned from the LO that was the loan officer, or the business that was everything to everybody, and found my passion, my purpose in serving the veteran and the active military community, it set me apart, right? It made me a subject matter expert in a particular field. So I think that's important for people, is to, find a niche or something in the market where you serve. To don't be like everybody else. You can do the things that everybody else does, because I do every loan type, but my passion and my purpose is to serve that community. And I think it's important for people to find that community. They build a community around themselves. So, I think it's highly important that we do that, and it sets us apart from other people.
That's true. And, not being afraid to show that to people, that, what your beliefs are, because that's going to be your ideal client, is
absolutely
people that have similar beliefs as you have, and people that look at it the same way. Because, as I say, you do business with people that are like you, and you do business with people that are that agree with your focus.
Absolutely.
And,
I mean, I'm a gun-toting, Second Amendment loving. I love my country, and I love everybody what it stands for, and those are the people that I attract to, right? I mean, I love that about where we live, and we get the opportunity to be that way. Mm-hmm. So being around people that are that way, that's like the job of a lifetime. You get to spout your patriotism every day, and you see the flag behind me, and I, it's red, white, and blue. That's the most important colors that we have, is that. And those are the types of people that we want to help, and my ideal client, and just honestly to sit them down with people like yourself and just have a conversation with them about where they've been and what they've done. And that's awesome. I love it.
I agree. And and with my business, obviously, I kind of have my mantra of faith, family, finances that I follow in that same order. And people that come to me, they know that I'm that way. And I don't beat around the bush. I don't apologize for it. It's just it is, and that's the kind of people that I need to attract. Because when I start out
I love it.
When I start my day, it's I ask God to bring to me the people that I need to help, and so it starts from there, and then and moves on.
Right. Amen. And it's, you can't be scared of your faith. If you are faithful, be faithful. Be faithful and be proud of it. And don't shy away from it. And, because I'll be honest with you, and I've told this story publicly many times, and without putting faith back in my life and my marriage, I probably wouldn't be married now, frankly, and because I just got in a bad way. Mm-hmm. But I believe that is between my wife being a wonderful human being and God. That's why I'm still here and doing what we're doing. And I tell people that all the time, because this is what I can encourage with that, to your point, is you never know what's going on behind the scenes with someone. Outward appearances are not always what they seem to be. So if you have that conversation with somebody, you never know how that's going to affect their life going forward. Mm-hmm. The best gift that we can give is affecting someone's life in a positive way. And by your profession, your faith, and how you lead your business, mm-hmm. do it on a daily basis, and I commend you for it.
Yeah, and making decisions that those people that are going to be affected, by the unknowns, making those decisions ahead of time to where you're taking care of them, because you're, again, back to that provide and protect. You're providing and protecting for those that are in your charge. And so
and I'm kind of like, I have three pillars of my business, and it's the truth. That's number one. We always got to tell the truth, because there's so many people who try to fill you with nonsense. So there's truth, and then education, and then advocacy. Those are my three pillars of my business. And those you'll always get from me. You'll always get the truth. I'm going to educate you, and I'm going to advocate for you because you deserve it. And man, when I started really thinking about those things, it's really life transforming, not just business.
It is.
It transformed my personal life, how I interact with my family, my kids, and man, I love it. I have the privilege and the honor of doing this now, and it's so much. It's fun. Mortgage is fun again, if that's such a thing.
Yeah, I often tell people, legacy is a lifestyle. It's not just a thing. It's a way of living.
Right. No, I agree 100%.
When you incorporate that, and you actually take that, to its ultimate goal, then it's going to make you fulfilled, and you're going to be happy.
I'm 100% with you, and I want to leave a legacy for my kids that, what if they want to try to get in the business and do what I do, mm-hmm. right? I need to teach them how to do that, and that it's not just about the money. It's not about 30-year mortgages or anything like that. We're serving people that literally can't help themselves. Without me, this is the way I feel about it. Without me, they're not getting the help that they need.
Sure.
That's not, narcissistic or egotistical. That's just what I believe, because I'm so passionate about helping them, educating them. Without me, they're not getting the proper help. And I'm trying to get to as many people as I possibly can. And that's what we're teaching them to help, and we help, and we help, give back, and we'll get in return.
Yep. 100%. So is there something maybe earlier in your life that you didn't do that you wish you had done, or something that you maybe should have done sooner?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I went through my 20s and even early 30s before I got married, just not planning one day the next, not planning for the future. I was successful and at a young age and this and that, and just never thought about where I would be now. Never. It was one day the next. We're going to the lake this weekend. We're going to have some fun. We're going to go there to all these different things. And it was great. I had a great time. But, I wish that I would have taken my parents' advice a little seriously and say, hey, son, you need to plan for the future, right? Yeah. You're not going to be young forever. You're not going to have these tools forever. You're probably going to get married one of these days and have kids. I'm like, that's never going to happen to me. Well, here we go. Now I'm married and have 2 kids. And I wished I would have taken that advice at a young age, because I think I don't think that I'd have been in a different place now. I think that just from a financially secure standpoint, I got started late. Yeah. And so I wish I could go back, kind of turn back the clock to my early 20s and change that.
Yeah, I do hear that quite a bit, as far as a common sort of a common story. And, things are cheaper when you're younger, and we're healthier when you're younger. So, take advantage of it.
Yeah. My house was a lot cheaper than the one I own now when I was in my 20s.
Yep.
Payments and kids and, all these things. And, you're like, oh my God, all you see is the money just flowing out. And you're like, oh. And, but it's, so if any 20 somethings, or you have kids who are 20 somethings and you listen to this, take my advice, start planning for the future now. Do not just, I want you to have fun. And if you're making money and you're enjoying yourself and you're working your tail off, enjoy it, but plan for the future. That way you don't have to work until you're dead.
That's true. And then your second childhood without supervision can be just that.
Yeah. Right. Yes. And we all need supervision. Even guys, I'm 45. I still need supervision from time to time. Just ask my wife. But, and that's why, again, I go back to surrounding yourself with people who can make you better. I learned from those things from you, and I can pass that on to my clients or my kids or friends or family. And it becomes cyclical, so it's important.
So over the course of your career, what kind of different hurdles have you personally faced that you've had to overcome, and what did you do to overcome those?
I mean, from a personal standpoint, there was a time years ago when we first moved to Texas, and even before that, I guess, where I was struggling with some things at home, and it threw me into a state of depression. I mean, literally, there were times where I couldn't get out of bed and didn't want to get out of bed for days at a time. It puts a little bit of a strain on your marriage.
Yeah.
It's a tough thing, man. And you don't really see it because you're right in the middle of it, right? You only see as far as the end of your nose. Mm-hmm. But that was a struggle. And, that's part of, I recognize when I finally hit what my rock bottom was with it. I made the conscious choice that, kind of having a type A personality, and you want to be, nothing can hurt you, and, you're made of steel and all these things. Finally figuring out that that's not true, that you're still human. You're not fallible. And you're going to have to deal with things. It's not just going to come right out of you and be done with it. You just wash it away. When I finally came to that realization and finally, honestly, got back into going to church and letting go of all those things that were dragging me down, it was life. It's life-changing. Yourself to let those things go. And, I'm starting as I got older, I'm starting to study more of the human condition and cognitive things, and because I want to be conscious and cognizant of what I'm doing. And I don't ever want to get back to that point to where I let things build up inside of me so deeply that I get that, which affects my life, my family, my friends, my kids, my financial status, all of those things. And I made excuses for everything, which anybody who knows me knows that I don't do that. Right. We were raised in a household where we don't make excuses for anything. You just do it. You fail, who cares? Do it again. And so trying to take a bit of your own medicine is very humbling. So it was tough, man. And like I said, I give my wife and getting, my relationship with God back all the credit for me still being on this planet, to be honest with you. And man, I look back at that now, and I don't forget it. I never have forgotten where I was. I never forgotten that feeling that I was, when I laid in bed for days at a time. Mm-hmm. I'll never forget it. Because I think it keeps us grounded, that we need to work every single day to be better.
Yeah, and identifying those demons, is is a crucial thing to being able to overcome them.
Yeah.
So
It was tough, man.
I bet.
We're all guys. We all have egos, and we all, but is some of our, you can't lead with your ego. It's okay to have an ego. You just can't lead with it. And when you lead with it, bad things happen. You make the wrong decisions based on purely emotion. And it was bad. And I still to this day apologize to my wife about it. But I look back on that going, holy cow, man, you are a saint to stay with somebody who did the things that I did and said the things that I said. And it's just, man, but again, I'm not scared to share that story because again, you never know who's going through what you're going through, what you went through.
That's true. Yeah. I commend you for being able to share that with us. Thank you for that.
Yeah. Yep.
So I take it that was it kind of obvious the answer that you stumbled upon, or you just kind of stumbled upon it by chance?
I mean, I think it just came to me one day, right? I mean, you get rid of all of the noise in your head. You get rid of, if you're taking, I was taking a medication to help make me calm, which had the exact opposite effect of what it was supposed to. It was making it worse.
Wow.
So you get rid of all those things. You get rid of the noise. You find solace and find peace in something that truly is peaceful. It's a relationship with God, and it's peaceful, and it just, in our business, it's a rat race, man. You're going 90 miles an hour all the time. And to be able to find peace is a tremendous thing. And it's not just our professions. There's a lot of high octane professions. And to be able to find peace, to download and just mentally and get right with yourself, man, that honestly, that's what changed. I remember the day, like it was yesterday, that I called my doctor and I said, get me off all this crap that you have me on. I don't care how long it takes. I'm done. And I went and saw a Christian counselor, and my wife and I got involved in our church and our boys and all that stuff. And it completely changed everything. I was thinking with clarity. So much fog out there that having clarity and just peace. I hope people go through life and can find that at least a little bit in their life, is just peace.
Yeah, it's so important that, when you're going through that tough lifestyle, that like what we have, that you have to unplug. You have to unplug and just, plug back into your source and to be able to get that and build yourself back up. Because it's even scriptural that, Christ went away from the people and would go back into prayer and would plug into the source. And so that's what we need to do. And, it's very important.
And I agree with it. And I don't do it enough, to be honest with you. It's hard. It's hard to do it because, I'm in service to not only my wife and my boys, but the people that I do business with and our clients and giving them the best care that I possibly can. But also keeping in mind that my most important assets are at home.
Yep. My
wife and my kids and how I interact with them and the things that I do with them. And that's sometimes that's a tough balance, and my wife does a very good job of keeping me balanced. Sometimes she has to get on me. She has to jump on me a little bit and say, hey, you've got to stop doing this. And because I get lost in that. And when I am able to disconnect and spend time with them, whether it's, my son's hockey games or whatever it is, it's peaceful. It's the rat race is not in our forefront. It's we're doing the things that provide us peace. And man, it's a wonderful thing if you can find it.
Very true. Love it. So when you're getting into your business that you're in, maybe you can kind of talk me through what got you into that direction, sort of what that looked like, and what compelled you to go into that direction.
You talking about just in the mortgage business in general, or
Yeah, just kind of a high level view of
mortgage business in general, or just
yeah.
What's that? Mortgage? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I was telling the story yesterday. I actually got in the mortgage business on a bet.
Wow.
Somebody, one of my childhood friends, he was in the mortgage business. We had other friends there. His mother was in the mortgage business, had been forever. And myself, almost 20 years ago, was not me now. I'm kind of a shy kid, kind of kept to myself, not the social butterfly, not super talkative. And saw what they were doing, and they had freedom, and they were making some decent money, and they're doing all these things. Like, man, that's awesome. And, he's like, man, I don't know that you can do it because your personality style, right? You're not that type A, high D personality where you're going to just, go out, talk to everybody and all those things. He's like, I don't know that that's going to work for you. And I'm like, so you're telling me I can't do it? He goes, yeah, I don't think you can. And I'm like, okay. So we made a bet. And I did it. My job, got in the mortgage business. And as I started evolving through the business from different, business models, from broker to, correspondent to banker and things of that nature, and doing various roles, I finally figured out at some point how important it is what we do. It's not just taking loan apps and being an order taker. And as I've evolved through the business, it's been great, man. I don't know that I could do anything else, frankly. I don't know what the heck I would do, to be honest with you, because I've spent almost the better part of 2 decades doing this, and I love it. As crazy as that sounds, as much as it drives me nuts some days, but it's a great business to be in, and we get to have a profound effect on people's lives. We get to provide them a home, and it's a great feeling, frankly.
Yeah, that's what gets you through it, is just knowing the positive part of it and the blessing that it can be, and the blessing you can be to other people.
Yeah, blessings is a good word, because sometimes I don't see what this business affords me the ability to do. Mm-hmm. Whether it's take a vacation with my kids and spend time with them, or whatever it is. Sometimes I lose sight of that. I get so tunnel visioned, and I only see about that far in front of my face. And I'm not looking at all the things that this job and this profession has afforded me the ability to do.
Yeah.
And again, I'll go back to my wife. She helps me with that. She keeps me say, hey, you can take some time off over Christmas because you've worked your tail off for 11 months. So take a week or so and spend some time with your family, and, let's do the things that we need to do. And I'm like, okay, you're right. Let's do that. And then when I do it, I'm like, man, this is awesome. So yeah, it's good.
Excellent. What would you say is maybe your greatest character strength?
Oh man, if you can categorize honestly telling people the truth as a character strength, yeah, I think that's probably my greatest asset, to be honest with you, because man, there's so much noise, especially in our business out there, that I believe that people have the right and the responsibility to know the truth. And I have a saying, is that, especially in our business, is that if you can't deliver the bad news, you don't deserve to deliver the good. Yep. And there's a lot of bad news we have to deliver, man. I wish I could say that the majority of my clients will qualify from an income or a credit standpoint, because they don't. Yeah. And sometimes that's a hard conversation to have with somebody. Is that, hey, you don't make enough money, or your credit stinks, or, things like that. But it's a necessity, because people need to know where they stand. Okay, so we know where we stand. Now we're going to build you up. Now we're going to figure out a way out of this. And so the truth leads into that pathway. Mm-hmm. And because we want to say yes, that's my job, mm-hmm, right? My job is to say yes. So we're going to figure out a way to say yes. Maybe not right now, but sometime that. And I get a lot of people that come to me and say, well, he never explained that, or I didn't know that, or I'm like, I don't understand that. I don't get it. But you're going to get the truth from me, whether you like it or not. And sometimes it's blunt, but that's just me. I want people to understand that, especially when you're dealing with military, they don't mind it. They like it. They like when I talk blunt.
Yeah.
And
very true.
So that's why I think another reason that I get along with them so well is because I'm going to talk your language. I'm going to make you understand in a way that you get it where you are. And that if you're not good to go, we're going to tell you you're not good to go, but I'm going to help you figure a way out of it.
Yeah. And it all boils back down to, in your best interest. You're doing that because, you're being very honest and truthful because it's in their best interest to know that.
Right.
So,
that's right.
Excellent.
100%.
Excellent.
Yep.
What would you say your greatest weaknesses then?
Oh, man, I have so many. I would say I would say that probably my greatest weakness is getting organized enough to where I can shut my brain off. And that actually causes and triggers a lot of different things for me, because I spend so much time working in my business that I don't work on my business, right? That I'm not trying to develop better systems or, get my database squared away or anything like that. And when I don't do that, my mind starts to race 1,000 miles an hour. You should have done this today. You should have done that today. I go to bed at night going, please, God, don't let me think about what I didn't do, right? You didn't have a good, lead generation day today. I'm like, I'm hard on myself because I want to perform at the top of my game. And when I don't do that, it starts to affect me mentally. And I have to have an internal sales meeting with myself and say, hey, it's not the end of the world. Tomorrow's a new day. Fix it. And so it's just, I'm hard on myself when it comes to that.
So maybe almost a little bit of a pride thing that comes in. I'm
pride. Very prideful, for sure. I will tell you that. I pride myself in being the best at whatever I do. And when I fall short of that, it's tough. And part of, honestly, what helps me with that is when I read, Jocko's first book, he talks about that. He's like, man, we fall short of God's grace every single day. Yep. And when he decided that was okay as a leader, it made him a better leader.
Yep.
And so that's what I try to remind myself of that, because I listened to that book and I listened to that section and he talks about that. And I'm like, okay, man, you're okay. It's all right. Just, we're better tomorrow. So, but I am tough on myself.
Yeah, I can relate to that one. Definitely relate.
Yep.
So, in winding out this morning, can you think of something that you could tell us that most people that know you very well may not know about you? Sort of that little trivia about Jason Stier.
Man. Wow. I don't know. With me, that somebody who doesn't know me, that what you see honestly is what you get. And I think there's a lot of people in our line of work. There's a lot of self-proclaimed gurus out there and experts and all those types of things. And I hope that I never come across as that, number one. But what I hope that people can understand and what they may not know about me is that, yes, I do this, and yes, I make money doing it, right? It's how I feed my family, how I put food on my table and all those things. But the root of why I do what I do has nothing to do with that. Mm-hmm. I do what I do in service to the others. And I hope that people who don't know me can understand that about me. And I know that's part of the relationship building process and things like that. But because what I never want to be perceived as is someone who's just trying to profiteer off the backs of the people who defended this country.
Right.
Ever. Never want to be perceived as that. I will, if that's the way my perception becomes in the marketplace, I will quit. I won't do it. Because I just, man, we come across those guys in our daily travels. I mean, when you see them, you know, they're simply out picking people because I'm like, God, man, I can't do it, and I won't do it. And I hope that people who don't know me can understand that, and that I'm truly here to serve them.
Excellent. And it's a great way to wind up our time here this morning.
Yep.
Well, I want to give the listeners a chance to have good contact info for you. So
Okay.
what are the best ways to reach out and plug into you, either social media, email?
You can follow me on Facebook. I have you can look me up. It's Jason Stier. I also have a business page. It's Jason Stier Veteran Advocate. You can follow me on Instagram at Jason Stier VA Loan Boss. My website where you can look at, we've got videos. You can actually go on our website and request your certificate of eligibility automatically through me. Fill out a little bitty form, comes to me. I'll contact you, but you can do that also at www.valoanboss.com. You can send me a Facebook message. My cell number is my cell number. There's no secret sauce there. But it's also my contact information is on all those pages. And if there's questions, concerns, anything, man, I'm here to serve, and I'm here to help in any way that I can, whether I'm your lender or not. I will always be the advocate, and I will always be there to help. So I want everybody to understand that.
Beautiful. Love it. And thank you for your being here on the program this morning.
Thanks for having me on, man. It's great to catch up to you. We'll catch up again soon, and let's talk about doing some combined financial classes and things like that for next year.
Absolutely. Yeah, looking forward to it.
All right, brother. Have a great day, man.
All right, see you around the bend, my friend.
See you soon. All right.
You've been listening to Legacy Cast. Thank you for joining us today, and be sure to come back next time as we speak with more top influencers, industry experts, and business owners from around the world.